Hey everyone, so I am back with another show video. So this was the Paul Frazier schooling show. This was on March 26th, and it was actually held at the Kentucky Horse Park in their dressage complex. So it was really neat to be able to come out to the horse park and start to get acquainted with the area. And this dressage complex, there were about 4 arenas going on at the same time, and 2 or 3 warm-up arenas, so it was a lot to look at, a lot of activity, a lot of distractions, but I was so proud of Mojo. He just went right to work. No big blow-ups like last weekend. I mean, he felt like a pro. He felt so much better than the weekend before. I was really proud of how he learned and put what we learned last weekend to use here. I mean, he felt like a completely different horse. It was quite fun to ride. I was pretty much smiling through both of our tests. It was a really great feeling. And so this is our training level 1 test. So we come in pretty good. And it was really funny. He actually tried to square up for me there, and I wasn't expecting it whatsoever. I should have stopped and waited before I saluted, but he actually tried to square up. I was like, wow, okay. So we go forward, and as you can see, I mean, he just feels so much more relaxed and confident. I mean, compared to last weekend, he was throwing his head nonstop. We still have moments of unsteadiness, obviously. He's still developing those muscles, so it won't be solid for a little bit. You can see right there, he tosses his head a bit, but so much better overall. Like, we had some really good moments in this test. But he just felt so much more relaxed, which was really nice. It was a nice feeling, and I still worry a bit with him wanting to dart out of the ring, but he did that pretty well, and then gave me a beautiful canter transition, right on the age, very responsive, but his left one is stronger, but still, I was pretty happy. Right there, he kind of drifted towards the in gate and had to be like, oh, nope, so he kind of lost his rhythm there, and then, we're still dealing with keeping the connection through the transitions, but like I said, that will come with strength and with more experience, so it's still, like I keep saying, light years ahead of our test last weekend, so I'm still very proud of him right now. And you can see, yeah, he's pretty unsteady on the bit right now. He's just figuring it out, though. And we come across, and he kind of didn't realize that he could just stick his nose forward until about right there. So it took him kind of halfway across, and he didn't really overstep at all. But it was, we were walking, no jigging, so still pretty happy with that. And a decently prompt trot transition there. He did seem to be listening a little bit better to me today. And when he goes, nice and round and uses his back, it's a lovely image. It looks really lovely. This horse is once he gets more consistent, he's going to be quite the horse, I do believe. And so here we're coming into what will be our right canter transition. So I really tried to get him into a shoulder in and then asked for it. And he picked it up, so I was really happy with that. And it was decently prompt. You can see he's a little off the aids at parts in this canter, but he's holding it. It's steady. I'm pretty pleased with that. And he listened really well for that down transition. So right now I'm thinking, wow, we got both our canter leads. That was in itself was a success. And so we come down center line for our halt. Pretty good. So I was really pleased with that round. It really showed me how good of a brain he has and how well he put everything to use in that test. And so here is our training 2 test. Once again, he tried to square up for me. I just didn't think it was going to happen, so I saluted before that, but nice to know that he was trying that for me. I haven't been practicing square halts yet, but good to know that it's starting to happen. And so we had about 3 rides between our training 1 and our training 2 tests. So I did get off right after our training 1 and let him graze for a bit before getting back on, about like 5 or 10 minutes before this test. And I think it helped. I know last time we just walked around for way too long before our classes, so I was trying to separate them and give him a moment to just not be ridden. So I do think it helped. If we hadn't been parked so far away, I may have, walked a little bit towards the trailer, but he seemed a bit still focused coming into this, a bit more pogo-y, it seemed. This felt better when I was riding it than my training 1 test, but I think my training 1 was a bit better. But he picked up that left lead pretty well again. The one thing about this test, he didn't throw his head as much. He just came a little up off the bit, but he wasn't throwing his head, which was a nice change. So he did that pretty well. His down transition, he wasn't really on the bit, but he didn't toss his head, so pretty good. And then we go into our stretching trot, and he gave me some really nice moments. He still needs to stretch out a bit more, but he did try for me, like you can see there. He just is not strong enough to hold that yet, and with relaxation and more times going out and practicing this test, that'll come. But like I said, he tried, and he did give me some really nice moments of stretchy trot, so it is there. Just need some more work on that. And so it's a decent walk transition. I tried to be a bit more accurate with that transition this time because I felt like I could, so I tried to make it closer to F, and thought it was pretty good. And then, like I said, we're walking, so that's nice. And here he gives me a decent free walk. He oversteps a bit. Could still have more consistent stretch, obviously, but like I said, that'll come. I'm just happy that he's offering to stretch for me. And then we pick up our trot, which was maybe a bit late, but he stayed pretty well on the bit. He does toss his head a bit there. And I probably should have pushed him a bit more forward here. He was feeling a bit sticky. It definitely looks a bit sticky. But it's nice and rhythmic. It just could have a bit more oomph. And that would help with his connection too. Really pushing him forward and into the contact. Then we go across the diagonal. And she does pretty well. She gives me quite a nice stretch there of really lovely trot. So once again, we're going into our right canter in this corner, so I'm really thinking shoulder in, and of course he sees a person walking in the corner there, so I was like, oh no, we're not going to get it. But he did. We didn't exactly go into the corner, but hey, we got the right canter, and like I said, he was distracted going into it, so I really wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get it. But we're in it, and he's staying on it, and it's pretty rhythmical. And then here he did not want to go back to trot. We barely made it before the letter. And so that kind of whipped us around this turn here. But overall, I was still extremely pleased with him. And then we come for a nice square halt. His haunches were in a bit. But I was still so pleased with this horse. I cannot wait to keep showing and keep seeing the improvements that this horse has. Was really over the moon with how he was at this past show, and I believe our training 1 test scored a 63.8 and our training 2 test scored a 63.9. So respectable scores, still room for improvement, but was very happy with how the show went. I'm very happy with Mojo. So our next show is in a couple weeks. We have a fun little obstacle course this weekend, so I'll try and take you along for that. But yeah, really excited with how Mojo is progressing and developing so far. So I am, like I said, can't wait to see what this horse turns into. Very happy.